Hi, everybody. Welcome to Real News Live with Mike and Casey. I'm your host, Mike BARA in Seattle. That is Casey Jones in California somewhere, Casey, right? And our special guest today is former FBI Special Agent John D'Souza, who we know you guys all know and love. John, how are you doing today, buddy?
I am great. I thought I'd be in the green room still.
Well, we're going to put you in there right now. Casey and I are going to do a quick run on the news, and then we're going to come back, guys, and we're going to go over not only the news of today, but we're also going to press him a lot about William Barr and the DOJ and what's going on there. So thanks a lot, John. We'll put you in there and see you in a few minutes, okay?
Awesome.
All right. Okay, Casey, I guess the thing to do is to start straight up with this. There's, again, the biggest issue right now is this election situation in Georgia, where the Georgia election supervisor was filmed pulling out what they're saying are suitcases. They're not suitcases. They're voter cases where the ballots are kept. From beneath the table is identified, and it's the daughter of another reporter, another important person in this Georgia thing. Trump's legal team showed the video, and a few workers. What happened is that these workers told everybody to go home, including the Republican observers. And this is being disputed now. There's debunking claims out there, but it's all BS. Basically saying, go on and go home. We're not going to count any more ballots. And then as soon as all the Republican observers left, they went out and they pulled these suitcases out, or cases, from underneath a table. This woman brought in the table. She put a cloth covering on it, stashed boxes and boxes of these ballots right underneath the this table.
8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Okay, so this, again, guys, is extraordinary evidence of voter fraud right there, because it's really interesting as you go through. It turns out that this actual amount of suitcases, the amount of cases that were brought out, each contained about 6,000 ballots for a total of 24,000 ballots, which is almost exactly the number that was dumped at 12:18 a.m. into the voting system. And what that means, Casey, is that those ballots right there are the ones that gave Joe Biden the lead, and they were almost certainly all fraud.
Yep, 100%. Obviously, if they have this video, don't you think everything that was pulled and counted from that precinct should just be out at this point? I mean, look at what we're doing here. This is
what needs to happen is that entire ballot dump needs to just, for starters, that ballot dump needs to be just excluded, because it wasn't observed, which is illegal. It was done under false pretenses where they told people, the observers, to go home. They weren't going to count any more ballots. They had hidden the ballots. They're almost certainly fraudulent ballots. Yeah, throw all those that 24,000 ballot dump out, and I bet you that at that point, Donald Trump actually wins the state of Georgia. So in other news, there's other things that are happening here, which are really kind of bizarre, and it just keeps getting curiouser and curiouser. What we have here is a situation where the Trump team has now got their hands on one of the Dominion machines from a very small rural Georgia county, and it shows the votes are being flipped from Trump to Biden. This was on Steve Bannon's War Room this morning. Normally I watch it. Sorry about this belly here, guys. I don't know what's going on with my advertisements, but the Trump team obtained the Dominion voting machine in Georgia. The machine shows votes being moved from President Trump to Joe Biden. If you have proof of even one of those things, you're absolutely got voter fraud, without any doubt. Trump team now has a Dominion voting machine from Ware County, Georgia, with evidence of Trump votes being switched to Biden. Let's jump in on the War Room right now and see what they have to say about it.
Stephen K. Bannon. The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide. War Room. Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the Fight Club. Remember, the first rule of the Fight Club is that we only engage in fights that matter, and one that matters is down in Georgia. I want to go live now to John Fredericks, our broadcast partner, who happens to be live at the location where the hearing was today. John, can you tell us what it was like?
Steve, I tell you what, I've been at the Capitol all day for this hearing, which is kind of a rogue hearing put on by the subcommittee of the Georgia Oversight Committee. The chairman of the Judiciary Committee wouldn't have a hearing, so several senators got together, did one on their own. Mayor Giuliani came, head of President Trump's legal team. Here's the bombshells that went down today, Steve, and they're big. Once this gets out, the fake news is not going to be able to continue to hide the level of fraud that's going on. Here's the number one story that came out. The Trump team today produced a video footage in Atlanta, in Fulton County. This is the location at the State Farm Arena where they shut down the doors and the counting. They threw everybody out and said, we're going to pick it up again tomorrow. They threw them out. They put plywood and curtains over the windows. They shut out the lights. 2 workers there then stayed for a half hour, feigning, doing natural cleanup work. When 30 minutes was over, this is all on camera. They went into another room that was under lock and key. They went under a table, a desk, and they pulled out 4 boxes stuffed with ballots. They started feeding those ballots into the machines in the middle of the night. Nobody knows where they came from. Nobody could match them. Nobody knows how it happened. Nobody was there watching it. This is all caught on video. Basically, Steve, the gig is up now. This whole thing that the Democrats are doing is going to collapse like a house of cards. Now, momentarily, we've got another witness who's going to be testifying today who got a hold of a machine in an obscure county in southeast Georgia, Ware County. Gentleman's name is Garland Favorito. He's about to testify. I was able to read his testimony earlier. He's on in about a half hour. You'll be able to see him. He's got a Dominion machine that they were able to do a forensic study on in Ware County. It's a small county. He's got evidence that this machine, Steve, has flipped the votes. They flipped votes. They flipped 37 votes in Ware County. He's got the evidence from Donald J. Trump to Joe Biden. Now, 37 doesn't seem like a lot of votes, but it's a very small county. It represents just over 0.25, actually 0.26 of the total votes cast. Now, isn't it ironic that 0.26 is what Biden won by?
Exactly. This is my point. It shows you it can be. It shows you it can be done, and that they do it. That's the importance of this testimony.
Yes.
Okay, so again, guys, what is really significant about this particular bit of testimony is that what we have is a situation where we've proven that votes have been flipped in the Dominion machines. They have been flipped, and guess what? The exact precise percentage that would be necessary to make Joe Biden the false, fake, faux winner of the state of Georgia. Isn't that interesting, Casey?
Every time. Why are they so sloppy? I just can't get past the fact that they were so sloppy on this. It's like they wanted to get caught. Going back to the table with the suitcases with ballots, did they not know there were cameras in here? I mean, I just feel like this is so sloppy, and people saying there's no evidence. Look at all this evidence right here. So let's take it to the Supreme Court. I'm ready for it to be over, and I'm ready for Donald Trump to be inaugurated in January.
Yeah, me too. I'm totally down with that. I think that's the issue. We have other developments that are a little bit disturbing that happened right before showtime. Rudy Giuliani put out a tweet that said, Republican legislature let down America. Nobody knows who he's talking about. We think Pennsylvania. I'm ashamed of them. They completely misled the president and me. All of us Republicans let them know what we think of them. And that, to me, kind of implies, Casey, that, there were different layers of this. You can go through the Supreme Court, you can have them overturn the election results and install the president, which is what should happen. You can have the state legislators say, we're not going to send Democratic electors, Joe Biden electors, because we believe President Trump won. It looks like, once again, the rhino wimp-ass Republicans are wimping out on that one. Mm-hmm. They're just corrupt as the Democrats. And, again, to me, this is not a positive development.
Yeah, I agree.
So one last thing, guys, I wanted to share before we go straight to our guest, John D'Souza, is that last night there were some really interesting developments over Washington, D.C. This is a guy, his website or his YouTube channel is Monkey Works. He calls himself Mil-Spec Ops Monkey, and he tracks all military aircraft in the air at a given time. And look what happened last night over Washington, D.C. This is interesting.
I was looking at my flight app, and what you'll see is this is a whole flurry of aircraft right here, right? That is Air Force Two, several drones, but clones, or all right, early morning, guys, no coffee yet. Several decoys and Air Force One, all up. And so they departed from the White House, and they were flying in circles down here south of D.C. And so while that was going on, this was kind of interesting. And so I'm not sure what happened, but Air Force One was not squawking as Air Force One. Air Force One was squawking as one of the 747 tail numbers, and it was not Night Watch. So usually we see it as a decoy bird, but Air Force Two was right there. They were all together. And so they departed from the White House. This was probably around 8. So these are, let me see, timestamps on these, 8:49 p.m., 8:41, 8:42, 9:06. So you can see where these were flying around. And well, let me back up. Make sure I go to this proper folder here. Fix me to it. It's a little clearer there, but I'm going to zoom in for you just so you can see activity, because I know some of you guys complain my screen's too small. So I apologize for that. But so yeah, this is all combined together. This is when they were just starting to land, but they were down here south of DC flying. Now, while that was going on, let me see if I've got the other set of photos. Okay, so that's the one I just showed you. It's a little grainy because you know how your phone takes pictures that way, but of your screen. But while that was going on, we had a boatload of H-60s at ground level flying around down here in the same general area that these aircraft just came out of. So there was something happening. Maybe this was a little, like combat air patrol or something. They were giving them cover while these guys were flying up here at a higher altitude. But this is Air Force Two, just so you guys can see. I wasn't. You can see this jagged line right here. That thing is jamming. Is what that is. So that's electronic warfare. So it's really not flying that, erratic pattern. But it seemed to be last night after 8, 9 o'clock. So just interesting. Just a data point. I think, it just makes you a little nervous when you see things like that happen. There were no reports.
Okay, so again, guys, not really sure what this means. It means something bizarre, different, unusual was going on last night over Washington, D.C. So let's bring in our resident expert on this kind of thing, John D'Souza, former FBI special agent, superstar stud, the X-Men star of the new documentary, 1,000 Pieces, which, by the way, you can go to Vimeo.com and watch it. On demand, 1,000 Pieces with the code D'Souza Gift is your discount code to get in there and watch 1,000 Pieces. Casey, you've watched it a couple times, right? What do you think of 1,000 Pieces?
Oh, I thought it was great. I think it's so relevant to the time right now, especially with Trump, bringing down the number 57. It's all relevant. So, yeah, John, you guys did a great job with that and bringing a lot of the deep stuff that goes on with the FBI and the CIA and how deep and how long it's been going on really to the forefront. And it's so relevant right now. So perfect timing for this to come out. Everybody should check it out.
Thanks,
so, John,
Casey.
Yeah, John, mucho praise again, even though I wasn't in the movie. What do you think of? Let's start with the Monkey Works guy. What do you think of all that activity last night? When that kind of thing's going on, can you give us any insight on what that generally means? By the way, 200 people watching live. What does that mean?
Mike, did you by any chance, or Casey, did you guys report on the joint command address that the president did of all the armed forces on, I think it was Thanksgiving? Did you guys?
We didn't report not extensively on it. No, John.
Yeah, because it was a very significant address, and you can tell that that's the case because it's been completely suppressed. I mean, I can hardly find it on YouTube at this point. and it's very difficult to find. And I don't think hardly anybody carried it at the time that it occurred. But that was very much in the spirit and part of this thing. These things that are shown by Monkey Ops, I think is his name.
Military Ops Spec Monkey is what he calls himself. He's on Twitter.
Okay.
He's still on Twitter, and he has the YouTube channel, which is Monkey Works, MONKEYWERX.
Okay.
Monkey Works.
Because I would urge anyone, and I would urge you to also show it on your show, to show that address, because it is the first time that a president has addressed all the armed forces in public, all the armed forces in public, in that manner since FDR in World War II. I mean, literally, it's never happened because of course there are two new services. I believe special operations has been lifted up to the service level, and also of course Space Force is. So the president did an address of all the armed forces, and it was and it's very impressive on the Zoom link. If you watch it, I mean, you can see all six services in different screens, all talking to the president, and the president talking to them. And he did. This was not as was put by the media. The media put it as it was a holiday address. It was a holiday address of the military by the president. It was not. It was a pre-operational briefing and opening of communications. That's what it was. And you can see it when you go through the speech that he made. He talked with them about the shenanigans that China is up to, that Russia is up to. He talked to them about the importance of stealth, of using stealth technology in their services, and how important that is, that they be invisible when they do their operations. He talked to them. He gave them a lot of little code phrases also, and this was a leaning forward operational briefing is what it was. And it was amazing if you just listen to it very carefully, and everything that the president said. He is preparing them for this theater of operations that's going forward. And
is this the one where he was sitting at the desk, the little desk?
Okay,
I've got it. And you can find it on YouTube. Actually, let me just real quickly flip over and show people what it looks like. Yes. What you got is you can go to, I just looked it up under Trump holiday address, and it's 44 minutes. This is from the PBS NewsHour with Trump sitting at the desk. So, yeah, I know, PBS, what a joke. But if they have the whole video, they have the whole video, right?
Yeah, and like I said, and it's, they lie in everything, even the way that they label and frame things. It was a holiday. This is the holiday address of the president, It's ridiculous. That's not what it was. I mean, if you just watch it and listen to it, you'll see that it was not a holiday address, because that would have been, hey, happy Thanksgiving, guys. This is great. It's wonderful. Yeah. Have a great turkey. And that's exactly. That's not what it was at all. This was a leaning forward operational briefing.
So you connect this to what happened last night, that we're in a war status, I guess. Does that mean, is it likely the president was on one of those planes?
Yes.
Or he went up in there at some point for some operation?
Yes, I believe he was. And I believe it could have been a trial run. It could have been a trial run for when he's going to be going through these operations. Most likely it was. It was just a trial run for this, what is going to be going on. Because he was at this operational briefing, let's say, that we saw, he was also, what he was doing was he was opening up the lines of communications with the generals of each service, and the war fighters as well. I mean, because this president is somebody who is he is 1,000% for the war fighters. That's a good way of putting it. And he was establishing the lines of communication so that they could, during wartime, the generals have no need to go through the Joint Chiefs of Staff, through the or through the other civilian authority, Secretary of Defense.
Defense infrastructure. You're saying they can go directly to the president then,
Right.
Which is great because it bypasses Miley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who I believe firmly is a traitor. I mean, if you look at the SCOTUS video that the gunner's wife did, where they're all openly discussing that they were going to attempt to assassinate President Trump at the State of the Union, Miley is sitting there nodding and winking to all the people who are openly discussing that they're going to kill the president. So that's great. If we can bypass Miley and people like him, then I think that's a really great development in terms of the military structure.
Yes, and I've been getting information from my sources that basically Miley that you just referred to may be a dead stick at this point, and also Gina Haspel may be a dead stick. It is a dead stick at this point, as well as Ray, the director of the FBI, and they call it a dead stick because they are assuming, they are describing it as these people are vehicles for the operational vehicles for the cabal basically. And now they have been rendered into a dead stick where they are not operational, either because they could be dead or they could be just neutralized.
So they are inert.
Isolated.
Yeah, they're inert. Now, the stories I've been hearing about Gina Haspel are that she was in Frankfurt in the Skittle or Skittle server area, that she was the one who was there trying to stop physically the removal of the servers. I understand that they already had everything on the servers electronically, but then they went there physically specifically to catch her in the act, and that her bodyguard took down 5 special forces guys, apparently. That's the story I've heard. She was wounded, and on the way to Gitmo, she basically decided to flip, and now she's going to just be quietly put out to pasture as long as her information proves correct. Have you heard anything along those lines from an independent source, independent of what I would hear, that indicates that might be true with Gina Haspel?
Yes, I've heard both 2 different versions. I've heard that I've heard from my sources that she was killed. She was killed trying to defend what in her mind is a legitimate CIA operation, which is managing these servers for manipulating foreign elections.
So stealing elections is now is a legitimate CIA function in the United States, apparently, right?
It has been for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
So she sees it as there's nothing wrong or illegitimate about this. This is something that has been done by the CIA for many years. It's just that now they were doing it against the United States, which for CIA people, I mean, they don't really see any difference. Any difference in that sort of thing. So
as far as they're concerned, they are the United States. 250 people on the live stream right now. Our special guest, of course, is former FBI Special Agent John D'Souza. Do not forget to go to Vimeo.com and the on-demand section and look for his documentary, The Amazing Movie 1,000 Pieces. Your gift code is D'Souza Gift. It's right there, streaming below you. Don't forget to go to his book site, JohnTamaBooks.com. That's the site where you can pick up all of his wonderful books and novels. Also, don't forget to send a little love to Casey over at the Peelback Report, paypal.me, and me, paypal.me/Mike Barra, and Venmo at Mike-Barra. And don't forget to like and subscribe to both Mike Barra Official and the Peelback Report YouTube channels. Comment, tell us how much you love us, and that's all good stuff. Oh, and do not forget our sponsor, ungovernedtees.com. You can use the special discount code RN2021 and get cool t-shirts like this Fake News Fear Creates Fear t-shirts. And we're going to have more t-shirts right now. And I wore this for you, Casey.
Mike, you're looking kind of cut like Tom Fitton. That's
makes you look like Tom Fitton. Yeah. Somebody's been paying attention to our broadcasts, I think. So, okay. So, Casey, you got a question for John you want to hit him with?
I know that we're talking this. I want to ask you, what do you think about this rumor that Biden went to Mitch McConnell to ask for basically a pardon from Trump? Do you have any information on that? Is that accurate, and why McConnell?
Oh, because McConnell is the highest political leader that would still have some sympathy for corrupt Democrats in the leadership of the Democratic Party. That's why Connell is the leader of the Senate. He is he's like the third highest official in government at this point, and he is also somebody who has played ball with the swamp for many years, and so I think Biden would see him as a sympathetic figure, and so I think that rumor is very likely to be true. And for people who don't know, when you deal in intelligence, you have to deal in rumors, which are just raw data. And you have to collect those rumors and you have to pile them one on top of the other and see if they're from separate independent sources, because several rumors can, when they are corroborated, can add up to very, very good intelligence. And so I believe that one about Biden, but it also means very little, even if it is true, because Biden is going to be buffeted by forces on the other side that are from the cabal, who are going to say to him, don't you ever concede. You're in this fight until your very last breath, and you better not concede. And yet he's going to have other forces that are just like, hey, you better go concede. And so he's kind of in an impossible situation at this point.
The way things are going in Georgia, I would say that very last breath is a lot closer than he might think at this point.
I'm surprised that Hunter is still has not done away with himself, supposedly, and I'm surprised that that has not happened yet. But I think that may be happening very soon to create pressure on him one way or the other.
Biden didn't kill himself. That's the thing, is that one of the things is that Biden supposedly is trying to protect Hunter. But again, from everything I've heard about this guy, he does not strike me as the kind of person who gives a crap about his family or his kids. I mean, he steals from his kids like a mafioso boss. I mean, there's rumors that he rapes his kids and his grandkids, which is all, to me, completely believable. So I don't know why that would, that's what makes it seem unlikely. But I do have another Intel contact who's on the, all I can tell you is he lives in Langley, Virginia, and he's a big data analyst. And he says that the pressure on Biden to concede before this is further exposed is intensifying, and that was the rumor that why he was going to Trump or to McConnell for this thing. So let me ask you this: we have a situation where we have pretty clear evidence of voter fraud. Well, everywhere. We have the machine voter fraud, the electronic voter fraud, the fact that apparently it seems that and Brian Kemp in Georgia, the governor, and the Secretary of State apparently are both on the payroll of Dominion Software, which is the ones who are doing the cheating. That's why they're protecting them. There's evidence, according to Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood, they have evidence that these people have taken payoffs or their family's been paid off, which is how Biden does it. Why is the FBI... If the FBI sends 17 agents to investigate a slip knot in a NASCAR garage in Charlotte, and yet none of these people are being investigated and there are no arrests, I would think that the video we saw would be enough to at least arrest and question those people in the Georgia election office. Why is the FBI not doing anything about this?
It's possible that they are, and that's not being revealed. Certainly not under Wray, but under in other aspects of the FBI, other sections of the FBI. It's possible that sort of thing is actually going on and will be sprung on everybody in a very sudden fashion later on. But you're not going to see any activity in the open at this point, at this early stage.
The thing is, you say it's an early stage. I think the Electoral College is supposed to meet in 10 days. That doesn't seem like a very early stage to me. You've still got lots of court battles to go through in Wisconsin. The Supreme Court kicked it back to their lower courts to try to delay Wisconsin to the point that the case can't get to the Supreme Court before the 14th. So, I mean, again, you see all these shenanigans going on. You see corrupt Republicans out in Nevada. There's plenty of voter fraud, and there's politicians there. They're going ahead and certifying elections that they know are fraudulent, which ought to be a federal crime.
Yeah.
John, it seems to me that unless somebody gets arrested, fairly high-level people, unless they start arresting people and showing and putting the fear of God in these people, they're going to try to run out the clock, certify a fraudulent election, and say that Joe Biden is the winner in 10 days. Why, again, shouldn't we be if these guys are on our side, isn't it time for them to act, or am I just being impatient once again?
No, you are being impatient, but yeah, it is time for them to act also. And I'd say the best indicator that something is going on in that area is that the governor of Arizona, who just certified the corrupt voting in Arizona against the advice and counsel of President Trump himself, who tried to call him even as he was signing the papers. He ignored the phone call. Well, as of yesterday, the governor of Arizona, he hired a private law firm to defend him whenever these repercussions come against him, and the Secretary of State, of course, as well. And so that shows that he believes something is coming against him in this process. And I think that's a really good indicator of where we're going with this. And even though the electoral process is separate, I mean, that's a separate process from the criminal process that is going on. And
yeah,
so I think we're in
the criminal process to help overturn the illegal electoral process that's going on. I mean, wouldn't that help a lot?
Well, that's a civil process. I mean, the civil process is what's going on with showing the election fraud at the court level at this point. So that is going forward, and the Supreme Court has already been positioned to grab certiorari on all of these battleground states. So it only takes them 1 day to recognize and grab these cases, and I believe it's going to happen all in a coordinated way, very suddenly and very quickly, and that's what we're looking at this point.
So you are a big trust the plan guy. See, I need to have you on my show once a week to calm me down, keep me from getting overly crazy and upset. So I got to ask you about one other thing, and then we'll go to the phones, talk to the people, and we'll talk, if you want to talk more about your film, we can do that. Absolutely. Or don't forget, okay, we did it. 300 people in the live stream right now. Yay. Good call. John DeSouza always brings in the crowd. Yay. Don't forget to go to johntambabooks.com to pick up John DeSouza's books, his wonderful, amazing books. Don't forget to go to 1,000 Pieces on Vimeo and use the code D'Souza Gift. Don't forget to give Casey some love at paypal.me, the Peelback Report. And don't forget to give me some love, paypal.me/Mike BARA, Venmo at Mike BARA. And do not forget to visit our Ungoverned Tees sponsor with their RN 2021, Real News 2021 discount code. So I promise I won't do that too often. We have to do a little bit of advertising here, though. So, okay. So something happened this past week, a couple days ago, which made me a little hot. And I am not a big truster or believer in Attorney General Elton Barr. I don't like him. I don't trust him. I believe he should have acted last year against Comey and McCabe and Strzok, who wouldn't even be relevant to what's going on now. So it's like they've gotten away scot-free, with what they apparently, tried to pull off 4 years ago, last 4 years. I don't like him. I don't trust him. And until he does something, I'm not going to trust him. And he came out, apparently he talked to the Associated Press this past week, and he said that he's seen no evidence of any voter fraud that would overturn the election to this point, even though he's apparently been in El Salvador for 2 weeks working on MS-13 related stuff. So you have a different take. I believe this is he threw the president under the bus at that point. You have a different take. I would like to get your take because you're more connected and smarter about this stuff than I am. So let us have it, John.
Yes. Well, first, Mike, that's not what he said. what he said was a very carefully crafted legal statement, and it was actually designed to be misinterpreted by the enemy, by the enemies of America, which are corporate news, corporate media, because here's the exact statement that he made, which was very carefully crafted. It says, to date, we have not seen fraud on a scale that would have affected a different outcome in the election. That's the exact quote that he used. Okay. Now, what that means is we may have seen fraud to 99% of what is needed to affect a different outcome in the election. Also, it means that that's just for today, a week ago when he said this, to this date, which means that by tomorrow, Sidney Powell and the others and Lynn Wood may have shown the fraud on such an incredible scale that, yes, now we have enough to overturn the election at this point. So it was a very carefully crafted. He didn't say we haven't seen fraud on any widespread scale. He didn't say any of those things that it was quoted in the media that he said. What he said was very, very specific and very, very limited in its term. And also, I believe that he is also doing the triangulation to be able to hand off all of these investigations off to the military under insurrection statutes at this point. So I think there's a lot of things involved with this statement. This statement accomplished about 5 different goals all at the same time, including to be misinterpreted by the echo chamber of the enemies of America, so that they would misinform each other as to what it really meant as well. So it's part of the Sun Tzu strategy that's going on. To put it in Mike BARA terms, Caesar cannot be seen to be using the Senate as an echo chamber for what he needs to get done. And that's part of the role that the old honey badger has here at this point. This is a guy who dealt with the entire Nixon and Gerald Ford fiascos, back in the I think it was like the 70s.
1974, 75, 76.
Yeah. So he's been through this before, and he knows about that the Attorney General has to maintain a fair amount of distance from the executive, from the president, when he is executing his duties. So I think all of those things are involved with this very specific statement that he put out.
Caesar requests no shellfish. Casey, got a question?
I do. There is a rumor, going around that December 4th, I know that Jennifer was on the show at the beginning of the week saying something big was going to start coming around this time. And I've also spoken to someone who has connections with friends in the FBI and saying, basically told her, get everything you need to have for the rest of the month ready by December 4th, because martial law is going to be coming down soon. Do you have any information on that? I know that, we don't like to put dates towards things, but here we are on the 4th. And I just want to know, I know Mike's ready for it to happen. I just want to know, do you see that happening anytime soon? Is it going to be, the next 10 days before the electoral college meets? Do you have any information on martial law?
I mean, yes, I've been hearing a lot of the same murmurs, and but I do believe that martial law, which has many other names as well, will be instituted when we trigger the insurrection statutes, which the president is going to do, and that's connected to all of this preparation with the military, with all the military services, because of course you can't use the U.S. military on American soil unless you have triggered insurrection statutes and other things as well. And the president will have all those things in place. But I do believe it will be used most likely after he is inaugurated, after he has won this election, and that's when he will use it under the same precedents that Abraham Lincoln used these same statutes in order to quell domestic insurrection in the country, because the globalists are going to, once president is inaugurated again, they are going to activate all their assets for domestic insurrection, and that's what we're going to need. And also, of course, for the arrests that will be going forward. And on that score, we are having more and more of members of the White Hat Alliance, the original White Hat Alliance, coming forward and advising that it is time for the president to use the insurrection statutes. We just had General McInerney come forward a couple of weeks ago and say, yes, it is time for the president to use the Abraham Lincoln rule and to start getting ready to declare a domestic insurrection and to use American troops on American soil for that purpose. And now, I think it was yesterday, General Flynn, no less a personage than General Flynn, the Pope of the Freedom American Patriot movement, actually declared the same exact thing. He just said it is time for the president to actually start preparations for domestic insurrection acts to be triggered.
Yeah, and the president's own lawyer as well, mentioned martial law. Mike talked about that.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
No less a personage.
Yeah. So you think it would definitely be after the inauguration that you see something like that happening?
I see that's when it's going to be necessary and needed to be done, because I mean it's going to require that kind of an excuse, that kind of a level of destruction, because we have fully exposed what the Democrat assets of the globalists are doing. We have fully exposed it at this point, and that they are being paid by China, the CCP. This has all fully been exposed by the previous riots and insurrection that has gone on. So I think we're going to be in the position at that point when he is inaugurated, and when he wins this process. I think that's going to be when he has the excuse and the reason to go forward with this plan for declaring domestic insurrection.
So to put you on the spot, you're saying that Trump is going to win this battle for the White House. He's not going to have to, I presume, resort to the military to keep him in the White House at that time. He's going to win some other way. So if you had to guess right now, do you think he wins in the Supreme Court? Do you think he wins in the state legislatures? Or do you think he wins when a whole bunch of people are arrested for corruptions and the state legislatures basically decertify their election? So it's like, in other words, does he win at the Supreme Court level? Does he win through the state legislatures, the congressional vote, the state legislatures not certifying the votes? Or does he win like in the House of Representatives with each congressional delegation voting? Which one of those three ways do you see him being declared the winner and standing for inauguration?
No, well, one of the things about history is that history loves precedents. They love precedents. And with the situation that we're in here is going to use the precedents of, when Al Gore tried to steal it from Bush in 2000. So yes, it's going to be resolved at the U.S. Supreme Court level. The process is going to be cut short and cut off and established. And I think it will be done under the rule of United States versus Throckmorton, which is it's the legal precedent in the Supreme Court for when fraud is used in a national level election. And it was where the Supreme Court declared that fraud vitiates everything. Yeah. Fraud vitiates everything. And they are going to use that rule to basically obliterate one side, the one side of the election that used fraud. In this case, it was the Democrats. And they're basically going to say this election is valid and went forward with the side that didn't use fraud. And the other side is hereby erased from the process, erased, as if they never basically ran. So that will immediately declare Trump the winner and the winner of all the elector seats throughout the country. That's basically how that's going to go down.
Yeah.
And,
I think it has to.
that will be an extreme solution to an extreme situation, but it will be using precedents that has gone before.
That's what people need to see. Yeah.
And that's why I see that's the only thing that we can go with here. Because it also will impose the rule of Bush v. Gore, where they cut off the process. They cut off no more recounting, no more, let's run the election over again. None of that, because that would not give finality to the situation. But as long as they use United States versus Throckmorton, it will cut off everything. It will cut off everything. It will cut off all further process in this situation, where you would just be having the process with the same criminals that ran the process the first time. So you don't want that. So that's how I see it ending, Mike. And that ending will come swiftly and quickly, as it says in the Bible, like a flood.
So we'll just be boom. That will just happen. The Supreme Court will take the case. They will rule within a day or two or three. Boom, it'll be over. All of a sudden, Trump's going to be the president. And that's when the shit will hit the fan. And that's when you think all the FBI investigations and things will start to come out, reinforcing this decision. To convince people, hey, this is for real. This is why this went down this way.
Right. That's the order I think things will happen in. And I think that's for the legitimacy of the president. That's the only order it can happen in. That's how I see it.
So you're predicting resolution of the fraudulent election, insurrection, invocation of Insurrection Act, of the Insurrection Act, and that's when the shit hits the fan.
Yes, because that will be combined. Then that will be combined with the arrests that everyone has been so complaining about. Where are they? And that will be, and of course, that will have to be a military process. That will have to be a military process, and you'll have the honey badger out there saying, hey, I wish we could have done this, but we just really can't. And so it's good that this is being done by the military.
Military is the only way.
Exactly.
You say.
Okay, if anybody in chat can tell me where the reference Caesar request no shellfish comes from, you're going to get a special gift from Uncovered Tees. I'm going to make an arrangement with Bridget to give you a special free T-shirt of some kind. Caesar requests no shellfish. Where does that come from? I know it's an obscure reference. Okay, John, I think that's all the questions, Case, unless you have one more for John, or are you good?
No, yeah. I mean, I have some questions, but not on this topic. So if you want to go and take some questions, we can stick them in.
So I think what we'll do now is we're going to go to the phones here, if you don't mind, John, and we'll go through and look at the questions that are in chat, and we'll start taking some of them for our special guests. Megrid Birdsong, is the FBI or CIA training the Proud Boys? John, that's an interesting suggestion. What do you think?
I doubt it, but the Proud Boys need no training. They are a phenomenal organization. They know what to do. They are patriot Americans who stand up for America in every instance, and I think they represent some really special things in Americana, and I think they are an outstanding group, and they need no training from the FBI the same way that 4chan investigators do not need any training. They should be training the FBI in how to do their business, because they are phenomenal and they are the best at what they do.
Interesting. Has anyone been arrested? The Barry and Hillary rumors and the Gina Haspel rumors and the Christopher Wray rumors. Has anyone actually been arrested yet, to your knowledge? Jeff Williams asks.
I think that probably several people. arrested just means temporarily detained and interrogated and possibly released again. And so, yeah, I believe that many people have been arrested, and that's why we see old Uncle Joe with the
Boot on?
with the boot on and the ankle bracelet locator on him, because he has been detained, he's been interrogated, and he's been released again. And
Catch and release, right?
Yeah.
Catch the fish, give
Yeah.
them the once over, and throw them back.
Right, but I believe,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead, John.
but I do believe that's probably under Article 1, Article 1 criminal procedure with Military, not Article 3 courts.
Okay. Sidney Powell's in the SCOTUS today. That's great. Lynn Wood has long backed Democrats for federal office, and especially for Georgia offices, donations to the Democrat Party. Politicians from Linwood. Do you think Lynn Wood is a double agent, or do you think he's somebody who is one of those people that used to be a Democrat and now has woken up? John, what do you think about it?
I don't know too much about Lynn Wood, except that he's very good in some areas, and some other areas he's suggesting some weird things. So I don't know about him in particular, but it's interesting though. But let's take the benefits that he creates as long as we can get them.
Yeah, as long as we can. Dadu Bear says, God bless you, Mr. D'Souza, and all of the patriots. A blind man can see that this was a fraud. The question is, will Americans stand for freedom or die on their knees? Good question. I don't know. I think we're going to stand up, but it's a different world than it was in 1776, right?
Yes, but we still need to remember the quotes from Patrick Henry. Is peace so dear, or life so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Dear God, forbid it. For I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. And that's what we have to implement today, and we have to keep fighting against this path of slavery and feudalism that the globalists and the Democrats are trying to impose on us, where they're trying to make these COVID rules, these lockdowns, permanent under the Great Reset. We only have two choices now. We only have the Great Awakening or the Great Reset.
I wish I had bought stock in a company that makes ropes for nooses. Glenn Claddock, my buddy from high school, John wants to know if Durham is just running out of the clock, or do you trust Durham and think he's really investigating and is going to?
Oh no, he's got everything piled up, and not just him. There's others as well, other special U.S. attorneys that are piling up cases, and who are going to be prosecuting those cases as well very soon. But I think it's going to be after the president is reelected.
Okay. Josh I makes a good point. If Lynn Wood was really a double agent, why would he come out and say exactly satanic pedophilia will be revealed? He sounds like a patriot to me. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one, Josh.
Absolutely. I think it does. And I hope that he is absolutely correct, that it will be revealed at every level.
TK says Trump doesn't seem so confident in Barr based on his comments at the Lou Holtz presentation. You're saying that's just stagecraft, right, John?
Yeah, theater as well. Yes, and I think it's been planned ahead of time, and I think it works. It works very, very well.
Josh hits us again with another one. You're not a real patriot if you can't properly spell martial law, by the way. So yes, it's MARTIAL, which means military law, folks. That's what it means. So
it has nothing to do with General Marshall.
It doesn't have to do with General Marshall, nor does it have to do with federal marshals or any of those things. It's not.
Gotcha.
It's also like there, and there, and your, and your. So anyway, Troy Bennett says, I really, 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 really hope that you're right, Mr. D'Souza. He is. What John D'Souza, 350 people now watching live. John D'Souza, when have you ever been wrong? I mean,
well, I do presentations and I do shows where people pay a lot of money to hear me talk, and I do predictions. So for 2021 predictions, 2020 predictions, and I do lots of things, and it's very interesting because I give predictions, but my predictions are based on what the plans of the cabal are. Okay, so for instance, I had predictions that Obama and Michelle Obama and Obama were being put forward to run for president on the Democrat against Trump, and that was a prediction based on the plans. However, the problem is these cabal agents still have free will, and they were going forward. Obama was going to be on the VP ticket, and Michelle was going to be on the presidential ticket, and they were all prepared. They were doing a world tour with Oprah, and they were being prepared
to be in Paris when Notre Dame was burned down by Muslims. Gee,
yes.
And you can see the reflection of the burning church in Michelle's wine glass.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
And so all of this was being prepared, but the problem is that there's still free will by these people, and when the rubber really met the road there, Michelle Obama basically looked at Trump, looked at the machine that Trump had put together and what she was going to be facing. And she just said, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Sorry, I'm not doing it. And Obama said the same thing. He said, no, we're not going to run. I'm not going to run for president. It's just not, I'm not going to be her VP. We're not doing it. That's it. Right. And the cabal was not happy about that.
No, I bet they weren't, but Obama's kind of immune from them now that he's in that ex-president status. TK, again, will the martial law include a method to transmit the truth to the mainstream media, not through the mainstream media, around the mainstream media? That's the broadcast system that President Trump put in 2 years ago, right, John?
Yes, the broadcast system. And also, I'm starting to believe that the president will have military media actually take over all the functions of the White House, whatever you call them, that gaggle of evil little vultures that exists over there at the White House. And I'm starting, because the military has a great media machine and propaganda and publicity machine as well. Yeah. They always have. That's always been part of their basic functions. So I'm starting to think that it's very possible that he'll just have the media, the military media, the different branches of the military take over all the functions of the White House gaggle and the other media functions that have gone on by mainstream media.
Well, I'm willing to be the White House reporter for OAN if they want me to ask President Trump's questions at the press conference. I'll ask him some real uncomfortable ones. Okay, Seth Black is pessimistic. What about the millions of FEMA coffins that will be filled too? Mass arrests, mass roundup made it look like Democrat roundups, but it will be us. That's a little pessimistic.
Whoa, wow, that's a little too dark.
Was that true? Are those FEMA coffins and all that stuff? Is that all true or not?
I don't think so. I don't. I've never seen any evidence of that sort of thing, so I think we're okay on that.
I have a question for you, John.
Yeah.
I know that at least around here in California, and I know that it's kind of reported on across the United States, that there is a shortage of ammunition. You're not able to find any ammunition, not just military rounds, but any ammunition anywhere, all the stores. And do you think that who's buying it? Is it a China supply thing? Is the enemy buying it up? I know that there's like 2.5 million new gun owners in the United States. Are they buying it up? Like, why is the ammunition supply stopped right now? I feel like it's such a crucial time, especially if we're talking about, martial law and insurrection acts. Where's the ammo?
I think the people are buying it up. This has happened before also during times of emergency, times of crisis. People just buy ammo like crazy and they hoard it. And so I think you're just going through a period of that hoarding right now. And we don't have enough people who create ammo, they're called like retro. I forgot what you call these people who create ammo, and it's a very easy skill to learn, and more people should learn how to create ammunition, and it's very.
I had a roommate I had a roommate back in college, a guy named Dave Cook, who passed away a few years ago, and he used to cook ammo in my oven. I'd come home, want to put a pizza on. No. There's about 1,000 rounds of ammo casings in there.
My God.
Yeah, he made his own ammo. He had.
Yeah, I know people who do that too, but apparently hoarding ammo and toilet paper. So
Yeah. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah,
Ashley would like to know, do you think the cabal will give up on the pandemic if Trump wins the election? I just have a hard time seeing how this plays out when Trump wins, because the dissonance for many people runs very deep. That's an astute question, Ashley. What do you think about that, John?
No, the pandemic plan will always come back and always go around because we have so much of the cabal has invested so much time and so much energy in Bill Gates and his plan to ultimately depopulate us and ultimately do all kinds of terrible things to us through this vaccination programs and through the other programs that are tied into supposed health care. And so that plan will never go away until they are completely, it'll be one of their last final things. So yes, the pandemic thing will always come back. I mean, look how much they've accomplished with it to take away our liberties, as far as at least in California and New York. So yeah, they'll always work with that and come back with that against us until they are completely eviscerated.
It's like in the movie we were saying, it's the trauma-based mind control, just like how 9/11 happened. It's this huge this huge trauma for a lot of people, and then we had the Patriot Act, and all of our kind of our liberties kind of slowly get taken away. But definitely with this COVID this year, they accelerated that, and now look at us. We're asking literally to breathe without a mask on. So I mean, it's definitely the part of the plan. But you're right, it does go around, and they keep using these same type of things against us, and all the way back from how the CIA created it. So.
Exactly, and they're using these. They're using health as an excuse now with fake science to
it's for
order
your
us.
It's for your
take
safety.
away, take away your right to breathe with
Yeah.
cloth masks that do not stop any viruses. All they do is give a sign of subjugation to the global state and take away and order us to basically commit suicide on a slow level. And that's what they're doing when they order you to close down your business.
Yeah.
But of course, Walmart can still operate. Fine.
Right. All the big corporations that are paying us our campaign trough. Yeah, absolutely. They can stay open. And again, this is why this has to be stopped now. A lot of people are like, oh, Trump can come back in 2024. No, the system will be even more corrupt. That's why the stand is here and now. It has to be here and now, because we cannot allow these people to get the legal reins of power. If they are allowed to do that, it'll be all over. MJ Sedona guesses Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. That is not where the reference comes from, although it's a good guess. It may be in there, but I don't think so. It's from I was referring to a different reference. She's saying Act 3, Scene 1. That's not what I was referencing. It might be in there. I'll have to look it up, but that's not where I took it from. So Caesar requests no shellfish. Caesar apparently had a shellfish allergy, John. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Okay. What, Case? You got something?
Oh, no, that's interesting. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Elon Musk? He's tweeted out some things recently saying that we need a new banner, not hard right, not hard left. He also was criticizing the COVID testing when he tested positive and negative 4 times in the same day. What are your thoughts on Elon Musk? Do you think he's he's on our side? I mean, a lot of people were saying that he might be a part of the deep state control, but do you have any thoughts on Musk?
I've never really looked into him very much, except for his statements on consciousness. I like that he's a very high level thinker, and I'm okay with him because Trump has been asked about him, and Trump has always said he's very comfortable with Elon Musk because he feels like he can be used for good purposes whenever for when we do need to use him, and appears that he hasn't been destructive of our liberties or so far. So I think he's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, BDB Warrior says in October, Archbishop Vigano held his first public address in 2 years. By the way, are you or the wife, John, are you either one of you Catholic?
No.
No. Okay. He directly named Pope Francis, Bill Gates, George Soros, and others as head cabal members leading the attempt at the New World Order. Do you think any of that stuff's going to really be exposed, John?
That what kind of stuff?
That the Pope and these other people, Bill Gates, are all kind of in cahoots in this big secret society, New World Order kind of thing.
Well, the Pope's already been exposed every time he opens his mouth. I mean, he's supporting another globalist measure or initiative, and he's speaking out against American patriots all the time. So anyone who's considers themselves Catholic, and an American needs to really look at this Pope and the things that he's been saying and doing. I mean, he has made some very anti-Christ statements in the past as well. I mean, forget about the globalists and the freedom stuff that he's initiated against, but just and when I mean antichrist in the Catholic in the most literary sense, where things that are against the teachings of Christ, that he has said. And so it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre that this guy has come out so firmly for the cabal and so openly. It's amazing. And I will tell you, I myself am a Christ follower, and that's what I claim. That is my only affiliation. I don't consider myself a Christian, mainstream Christian, or anything of that sort. I'm just a Christ follower. And so when I hear an antichrist statement, I recognize it. I know it, and I hear it from that Pope all the time.
Yeah.
Very bad stuff.
Have you ever heard of the Black Pope or the Gray Pope?
Yes, I have. What is that? That's the Black Pope. That's the demonic official who works right underneath the Pope, right?
Right. Who's really running the show. I just want to know who that is.
I think the Pope is the Black Pope. That's what I think.
Can you imagine if there was someone even darker than that? That's so scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's crazy stuff.
That's so scary.
I think it's Adam Schiff actually is the Black Pope. That's just me. Okay, 365 people in the live stream. Last time I'm going to do this. Do not forget, Casey Jones, paypal.me/peelback report. Mike Barra, paypal.me/Mike Barra. Venmo @Mike-Barra. Don't forget, John D'Souza at johntamaBooks.com. John D'Souza. Do not forget, he's on Twitter at JohnXD'Souza. You can find him there. Also, do not forget to go to Vimeo.com on demand, select 1,000 Pieces documentary with your special gift code D'Souza Gift. And don't forget to visit our sponsors, ungovernedtees.com, to get cool t-shirts like this that make you look like Tom Fitton using our special gift code RN2021. Yeah, John, you can do that too. But
I have to take off my jacket though.
Okay.
All right. And also, I'm being told to buy directly for buying my books. Take 25% discount on my books using promo code Kraken. Promo code Kraken.
Okay, great.
Through the holidays. Through the holidays, and if you order this weekend, you'll have my books in time for Christmas. And I would like to tell a quick story from one of my books that is right on point with everything we are dealing with.
Okay, so is it promo code up? Is it all uppercase Kraken, or does it matter?
Oh, it doesn't matter. No, it's lowercase Kraken, 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 the proper spelling of Kraken. That's 25% discount on all of my books. If you order by this weekend, you can have it in time for Christmas.
Excellent.
All right, let's see, we got it right there. JohnTamaBooks.com. Promo code is Kraken, right? We got that. Good.
That's it.
Good. So what's the story? Tell us your story.
So there's a concept of that we see being played out now. It's a concept of the double trick. Now, in the FBI, for instance, this is very public, so I can reveal this under methods and techniques. In the FBI, when you have let's say a mafia group that knows that they are going to be surveilled, what the FBI will do, intelligence agencies will do, is they will plant microphones in very obvious places for them to find. They'll find these cheap little microphones and they'll say, oh, here it is in the lamp. And so they'll pull it out. It's this cheap little piece of garbage with little wires coming from it. And it'll be like right under the desk as well. And they'll at their favorite restaurant, they'll just pull it out and stuff like that. Now, those microphones were the first trick that were meant to be found. And now the double trick is that there are microphones in invisible places that are the real microphones to listen to them and to grab everything that they say. That is an example of the double trick in intelligence work, and that happens all the time. Now, I wanted to tell, and this is a story from my book, The BARA Investigators. The BARA Investigators. We had there's a legendary CIA agent, CIA operator, who this actually happened to. He was in a foreign one of the Middle Eastern countries, and it was at a time when they were going through an anti-American revolution of sorts. And so this operator, he was the NOC, which is the operational officer for the area. And he was managing several high-level sources, top-tier sources. Top-tier sources are people who are actually leaders of movements or leaders of gangs or organizations, but who also collect money from the CIA and other intelligence agencies as well. Now, his source he had recently found out that his source was actually collecting, who was a community leader, was collecting money also from Al-Qaeda, from the other side. And so he was getting ready to expose that source. He was very angry about that, and he was getting ready to expose that source. That source was a community leader as well in the area. And so that source was, one day, he was actually shopping at the local food market. He was getting ready to take some days off. And he was just tooling around now across the street from where exactly he was, guess who was there? It was the community leader who was his source, his asset. And he was gathering a crowd and giving a speech as is his usual Saturday ritual. And he was giving a big speech to get the crowd, whipped up with anti-American hysteria. And he was just in Arabic, and he was giving them some talks, and they were just getting riled up. And we're talking, like about a couple of thousand people there, locals who were just going crazy. And he was whipping them up against the West and the devil that is the West. And for this story, you have to know that in every capital in the world, there's people who speak English perfectly. And there's many reasons for that. And they speak and read English, no problem. And so at this time, while he was whipping up the people, he was saying, and also the word CIA sounds the same in just about every language. And as he was whipping the people up, he was saying, and the very devil that I speak of is right there towards the back of the crowd, going through that fruit at the fruit market there. It is the devil that I spoke of, the CIA. That's him right there. He's right there. And the guy is just picking through some fruit, and he just turns around, and the entire crowd, this 1,000 people, start approaching him, and they're screaming and jesting. People in this country, it's a very emotional language and very emotional people, and they're gesticulating towards him. And then he realizes this guy is trying to get him killed. And it was just kind of too late to do anything, because the crowd was on him, and they were tearing at him, and they were trying to get him. Now, then some of the younger people stepped forward, and they pulled him close, and they read his T-shirt and his hat and his ball cap, and he only knew a few phrases in Arabic, and one of the phrases was why does he think? Why is he saying I'm CIA? Why is he saying I'm CIA? And then the young people were reading his what he had on. He had a T-shirt that had in very large letters CIA, and his ball cap also had big letters CIA, and in very small letters it had confused, ignorant American. and
Wow. Yeah.
And the younger people started yelling out to the older people and telling them what was on this T-shirt. And again, his language, his English was very his Arabic was very limited, and he was able to say, "I'm sorry, 1,000 sorries, bad joke, bad joke, bad joke, bad joke." And he said he yelled this out to the crowd, and then the crowd turned around on the speaker, who was very confused at this time. He didn't understand why they weren't murdering him and murdering his handling agent. And the speaker was very upset, and they started throwing things at the speaker and chased him off the stage.
Wow.
And the CIA agent, who was a CIA agent, was able to escape unscathed and from that theater of operations. And it was an amazing thing. He was legendary, and that story is taught at Langley. That's at Langley.
Wow. I will have to remember not to wear a T-shirt like that on my trip to Brazil next year. Going to go get myself a Brazilian wife. So that is
an example of the double trick.
Yeah.
And that guy taught me that. I mean, he taught me that, and he said it works. It works amazingly well.
Great story.
Okay, so Senator Thomas, when do you think the case will be resolved by the Supreme Court? I think we've kind of talked about that before. I would say that it's going to be resolved before Christmas by the Supreme Court. John, do you disagree with me, or does that timing seem about right?
Yeah, I think that's the correct timing that we're going to be seeing soon.
KM wants to know, do you guys think it's a possibility, or do you think it's a possibility that Sidney Powell is a military attorney? That's a rumor that's come around. I don't know what special, certifications you have to practice in a military court, but nothing is confirmed. She'd like to know. John, do you know anything about that possibility?
I think it's very possible, and you don't really need any special certifications except through practice. And so, if she's done it before, then she will be allowed to just at least give evidence into a military court from her cases, which is all she really needs to do.
Okay, there was what happens. Gary Fleck wants to know what happens to all the fraud in the Senate and congressional seats if there's massive fraud in the presidential election. I mean, I know John James in Michigan and Martha McSally in Arizona for 2 both won their seats, and we can't let these 2 guys, especially that Nazi prick Mark Kelly, we can't let him go to the U.S. Senate.
Yeah,
what do you think's going to happen with that? Just out of curiosity. Not that people are talking to you like you're a legal expert, but still, let's get your opinion.
It's just that the problem is that those, this is a very precarious situation, because in order for this situation to get resolved, we have to show fraud on just one side. And now the problem is there appears to be collusion on the other side as well with these Republicans who have been very anxious to concede their elections. And when there was absolutely no need to concede. And with McSally, this is the second time that McSally has conceded an obviously fraudulent election.
Yeah, she got Kristen Sinema in there too.
Exactly. Exactly. And what that shows is that she's getting a great benefit out of conceding. There's something that she's getting probably from the globalists that is coming to her in order for her to get this. And so, but the good thing is this is public corruption on her part. It's not election fraud. See, because if there was election fraud on the Republican side, then there would be a very big problem with this situation. But luckily, all of these crooked Republicans who either have been conceding their elections or have been certifying election results. Those Republicans are all in on the same scam.
Yeah.
They all are, and they need to be held to account ultimately for what they do. But
sorry, 394 people in the stream. Come on, we're almost at 400. Dave Barra wants to know if the Mafia Cabal fixed Super Bowl 40 in Detroit when the Seahawks got ripped off. Yes, they did. But...
Yes, they did. Absolutely, Dave. No question.
Joe wants to know, JS Pop, I think the tunnels are ancient. I'll be renovated in the last few hundred years. Do you know much of anything about the tunnel networks under New York and LA, if they're real or not? Did you hear things when you were at the FBI?
Oh, the ones under New York are absolutely real because I was born in New York City, and everyone who has lived there knows that there's like a Roman catacomb city underneath New York City, which is one of our oldest. I mean, it's one of our oldest cities in the United States. And so, yeah, that whole network does exist down there, and they've tried to, and that's even publicly known, I'm pretty sure. And they've tried to block it off for decades and decades, and it's never works. People are always opening up those tunnels and going down there, and so I don't know what the heck is going on there with that. Oh,
Ashley sees your book Clear Hearers in the background. Nice product placement there, John. And she says it's a great read. So.
Yes, it is. And Clear Hearers is very important, Ashley, because it is about a paranormal ability that you already have. And you just need to exploit it and use it and learn how to cultivate it. Very, very important. Very important.
Yeah. Okay. Trying to find some more questions. Sonic Liberation thinks you are an awesome guest. So
thank you, Sonic.
Way to go. Let's see. We got to have some more. Lawyer Fletcher thinks the X-Man rocks, as does Mike and Casey. MJ Sedona says, your husband guessed the life of Brian. No, but it is from a television or film production, MJ Sedona. You're getting closer. I don't know why you're talking about Caesar requests no shellfish. But I don't know why it popped into my head. Oh, yeah. But Dave Barra, you don't count because you know where it comes from. So screw Dave Barra. In fact, or Dave K. I'm sorry. Oh, Dave K. figured it out. Dave Barra. It's from the film, the miniseries Rome on HBO. That is correct. It's absolutely correct. If you want to know all about ancient Rome, what life was really like amongst the patrician classes and the plebs, which is eerily similar to the United States today, absolutely watch the 2006, 2007 TV series Rome for seasons 1 and 2.
I'm going to watch that.
It's great. It's absolutely great. Yeah, it's just where you know how you watch TV or something, and you'll remember a scene for like no reason. I just remember this guy was meeting because Caesar was going to be invited to a party, and Caesar's assistant, and he sits down and he says, "Caesar requests no shellfish." I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. It was not Jane Mendola from the film Caligula, which is a classic.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh God. If you ever, that's just not.
I would like to make a formal request that people not watch the movie Tenet by Christopher Nolan. Just don't get involved with that, please. I made the mistake. It's almost 3 hours long, and it is the most, and I now believe that Christopher Nolan is an extraterrestrial. He is from Venus or something, because he thinks at such a incredibly different level than everybody else. And he thinks that humans can understand the crazy stuff that's really in his head. And Tenet is like, I've never had a movie that I was sorry I got involved with to such a level as Tenet. It's just unbelievable. It's so complicated. It's so hopelessly complicated.
Amazing that the reference to the film Caligula stimulated that thought process. Trust me, folks, if the R-rated version is bad enough, but if you ever see original theatrical cut, run away from the movie. Okay, it is just, Caligula is not something you want to sit through. It just really, really isn't. 90 Day Fiance. No, Ashley, was not from 90 Day Fiance, but I did watch that show when Powell was on, for sure. Do you think JFK Jr. is advising Sidney Powell? John D'Souza.
Absolutely, yes, no question.
Smart ass.
I have a question for you, John.
Yeah.
Did you ever know or work with Ted Gunderson?
Ted Gunderson was before my generation. He was a generation just before me. So I know of his work. Ted Gunderson was a great FBI agent and investigator. And the only thing he was guilty of was that he was about 20 years ahead of his time, because he was sounding the alarm on satanic pedophiles in Hollywood and all of this stuff.
All the industries.
And, yes, and people were just like, "What's this guy talking about? What?" You know, but now
he really laid the groundwork. And I know that his son said that he actually investigated the JFK assassination that Gunderson did.
Yes, he did. He did. And he was a great FBI agent as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Candace is with us. Good morning, Candace. How are you? Are you going to join us, Candace, for Saturday Night Live tomorrow night? I want to know if Candace is going to be there. Casey, you owe me one. So are you coming?
I'm not going to be. I have to go home. I got to travel home. I'm sorry. Sorry. I got to drive.
MJ Sedona said she was told that once Trump took office, the military were trained to fight in tunnels. That is a fact. I have read regular in the clear news articles about the military training in the tunnels, and I do firmly believe that there were operations in New York and LA during the lockdown. Does John have a take on Nisara and Jassara?
Question.
Yes, I believe Nisara and Jassara are real. They are being adopted and adapted by the White Hat Alliance. Some people call it now Trump Sara as well.
Yeah.
And I do believe that these things will be going forward. And the people who really believe that these things are going forward is the cabal, because they are creating, as they always do, they're creating a counterfeit of Nisara Jassara, where they have their own financial reset that is going forward and is eliminating debt. It's going to eliminate debt for people and provide their basic minimal income, universal basic income.
Basic income, yes.
Yeah. And all of these things, but it's always like on the evil side. It's always wrong, because it's a counterfeit. It's a counterfeit of Nisara Jassara, and they are trying to push this forward. And of course, they will not be eliminating debt for the average person. They eliminating debt for the average country, supposedly. And so it's a really corrupt thing that we need to be on the lookout for, and we need to be aware that the cabal is actually believes in and believes that Nisara Jassara is going forward at some point.
Okay. Was one other question up here. KM wants to know if Obama's pedo crimes will ever be publicly prosecuted. And yes, there are some for sure with that Obama. I think Obama will ever be exposed.
Well,
he's
got so many crimes. He's got so many crimes that I don't think they'll ever get to the pedo ones, if he has any of those. In the documentary 1,000 Pieces, one of the things that 1,000 Pieces is that we have a collection of different agents, FBI agents, CIA people, General Flynn and his family, all people who were victimized by the same corrupt cabal of people, mostly under Obama, under Barry Soetoro, who was always the lead guy with them. And I tell the story of how I was always in the FBI. I was always largely part of a group called Sons of Liberty, where we were patriot FBI agents who were kind of trying to fight against the traitorous ways of Bill Clinton, who up to that time we thought would be the greatest traitor ever as president of the United States, mostly because of what Bill Clinton did with trading away technology to China.
Yes.
In exchange for, of course, all the benefits he got.
Yeah,
from China.
missile guidance technology and all that stuff that allowed their business to be more accurate.
And Bill Clinton just ordered all of our technology to be transferred over to China. And it was against all the advice from everyone in government. And that was right there. That was clear treason against the country. And so we were thinking in the FBI, this is the worst thing that could ever happen against this country with a president. And then we heard about Barry Soetoro. And so that was blown away real quick. And so in 1,000 Pieces, I kind of tell that story of what we faced then with Barry Soetoro, who at that time was known to us just as a high-level source, for the CIA and the Saudi intelligence services. And one of his code names was Renegade. And we had no idea who this person was until one day we got a match that it was a senator out of Illinois who was operating under the name Barack Obama. And he was the same Barry Soetoro who had been a foreign person source for the CIA and the Saudi intelligence services and the George Soros foundations as well. And so it was just a shocking.
And just by coincidence, when he became president, Barack Obama selected Renegade as his Secret Service code name. And what is a renegade? A renegade is, for all intents and purposes, a traitor. That's it. Okay, Jenna Sterling has a question. Hi, John. Any speculation about the date of December 21st and the Jupiter-Saturn alignment on that date? Will something big happen because of that? I wrote a book about that, Jenna, just so you know, called The Choice. So pick it up anyway. Yes, go ahead, John.
Well, with all due respect to your book, Mike, I'm always against date setting of any sort, under any conditions, for any reasons whatsoever. Date setting is just a bad way to go, and so it never gives any good results, and it takes away from our motivation to make things happen on our own. That's
right. Okay. We gotta get John out of here. I will take just a couple quick. We'll go lightning round here, real quick. Will Fauci ever be exposed? Queen B 777 wants to know. I say yes. John, you say?
Yeah, I think he's being exposed right now, and that's why he keeps changing what he has to say back over and over again. That's what I think.
Don't you find it strange that Barry's mom was named Stanley? How far back does the transgender agenda really go? Is a good question.
Oh,
it's a little weird.
Barry's mom had a lot of insane issues, and you could do a whole study. You could do a whole book on that.
I think Mike might have froze for a second. Oh, yes.
Okay. Why has Harris not vacated her Senate seat yet, and why don't we know about her planned replacement? Because, folks, she knows they didn't win. That's why.
That's right. That's it.
She wants a job when she's done with this.
Exactly.
So is Barry Soetoro's real father the Malaysian guru, or is he the communist guy, Frank Marshall Jr., whatever? Who is he? Do we know? What do you think? Do you know? D'Souza, that's my first question.
I always assumed it was Frank Marshall. That's what I was always told, and that's what I had assumed was the case.
Okay. All right, Casey, you got any last questions for John before we let him go?
I don't think so. Thank you so much, John, for being here and your time, and I really appreciate it. So it's great, and everyone definitely needs to check out 1,000 Pieces. It's totally relevant to right this moment. Go watch it today.
392 people stuck with us today.
Yay! Awesome.
John, what else? Any last references you want to make or places?
I am going to embark on a fitness and diet program that involves intermittent fasting, and keto and maintaining keto. So that I wanted Casey to know I will be cut. I have a poster of Tom Fitton on my wall of my office where I do my exercises for inspiration. with a
Love it.
T-shirt showing the guns. And so I expect by the next time that I appear with you guys, I will be in a T-shirt, a Tom Fitton T-shirt.
Yes.
And I will
Fitton
be
doesn't wear t-shirts.
completely cut.
I love it. Oh, I love it. I can't wait. That's great. We'll have to get you one. We'll have to get you a shirt from Ungoverned Tees for sure. You'd be looking ripped like Tom Fitton. I love it. Nice.
Exactly. That is my plan.
390 of you stuck with us today. Thank you again, John D'Souza. Wonderful guest for being
Thanks,
such a
John.
great guest to be on our show and informing our audience. It's really important to us. Don't forget to visit our sponsor, ungovernedtees.com, and use the discount code RN2021 for Real News 2021. Don't forget to give Casey some love on the Peelback Report at PayPal. Don't forget me at PayPal.me at Mike Barra, and at Venmo at Mike-Barra. And especially do not forget to go visit John Tama Books. Use the promo code Kraken for John's great books. And especially you've got to go see on Vimeo his 1,000 Pieces documentary. It's an amazing documentary. You got a discount code there too, D'Souza Gift, which gets it pretty cheap for you. John, any final words, or just say thank you for being here?
Just love you guys. You guys are awesome. Casey Jones, Mike Barra, El Barra. Awesome stuff. You guys are great. I love the team that you have put together these days, Mike. You are doing a great job here. It's amazing stuff. And it's so much better than Mike Barra, your thoughts, or Mike Barra. I'm here in my closet in LA. I need money. Please, this light bulb doesn't work anymore. Please, Mike.
Candace would
Oh,
like
that's amazing.
I'm so glad those days are gone. I'm so
Me
glad.
too. Me too, Ron.
Candace would also like to thank you for help talking me down off the cliff, because
Gonna reel you back in sometimes, Mike.
Okay.
Straight in.
For John D'Souza, our special guest in Arizona, for Casey Jones somewhere in California, and for me, Mike Barra, your humble correspondent in Seattle, Washington. Thanks for joining us. We will be back with a Saturday Night Live tomorrow night. I'm hoping Candace will join us. Right now, it's going to be me and Blake, as I understand it, and we'll drink a few beers, chat about some stuff, and Candace is going to betray us. Not Candace, but Casey's going to betray us again. Casey's never available on Saturday when we need her, but we'll forgive her for that. We'll see you guys back on Monday with Jennifer Falah-Doring. Don't forget, Jennifer and we're going to put together a special event, pay-per-view event for patrons only kind of thing, where Jennifer's going to give you very extensive readings, not for free, but it'd be a cool thing. And we're going to talk about that and kind of announce it on Monday. We don't know the technology yet, but we're going to figure it out. For everybody here, thanks very much for joining us, and come back and join